Hello. We are live and welcome to today's live all about the APP. My name is Hannah Awanuga. I'm part of the delivery team that will be delivering the APP, the Accelerated Progression Program across financial services for Progress Together. Shada, let me hand over to you.
Thank you, Hannah. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Shada Kaur, Director of Growth and External Affairs at Progress Together, and absolutely delighted that you all are here with us today. So we're talking about one of the programs I am personally most excited about. It's the Accelerated Progress Program, APP. It's our 12-month cross-firm leadership program supported by Nationwide, designed for high-performing middle managers from lower socio-economic backgrounds working across UK financial services. Now, the reason we created APP is very simple. We don't believe access to talent is a problem. We feel across our sector, we have incredible people delivering fantastic work every single day. But progression isn't always determined by performance alone. So often things like sponsorship, visibility, networks, confidence, opportunity, and having someone who can advocate for you is what matters the most. So that's what that is what APP is trying to address, and that's the basis on which it's designed. So today we'll explore why the program matters, what makes it different, and what both participants and firms can expect from taking part. I'm delighted to be joining by Hannah Awanuga and Shelley Bishton from Illume, who have played a key role in designing and delivering this program for us at Progress Together. Hannah, Shelley, thank you both. So let's start with the bigger picture. We often hear organizations say that they have fantastic talent. And if that's true, why do you think talented people still get overlooked?
So I'm happy to go first. I think it's a great question. And one question that I always think about is, what do we actually mean by talent? So for years and years and years, we've seen talent as, polish. Maybe it's about the university that they go to. Maybe it's the background that they have, or the social kind of economical background that they come from. All of these things, as well as, how good they are to do their job, has an influence on whether you are seen as talent or not. And when we look at representation across financial services, when we look at senior leadership, we can see that talent has been kind of governed in a way that is about university, or it's about who it's about your networks. And so when we think about why not all talent gets progression, we have to ask the question, are some of these factors influencing some people getting on and some people not? And so when I think about financial services, I think about how people progress. I think there are some people who understand more about the unwritten rules than others. And so that can actually have an impact on individuals, but also on the progression pipeline of an organization. And so, yeah, Shelley, I don't know if you have a perspective, but for me, I think the reason why talent is sometimes not always getting through is firstly how we measure talent. And I think, we are now in a day and age where we're looking at potential over polish. And for years, we're looking at the finished article. We're looking at people that have come from Russell Group universities. They understand some of the kind of cultural norms of a professional environment. I think that's changing. And I think that's, especially what we're trying to do with the design of APP. We are trying to challenge that norm and to actually say that people from diverse backgrounds are also seen as talent, and trying to give them the tools to be able to navigate that. Tilly, I don't know if you have a view on that.
Yeah, I think you hit onto so many great points. I mean, just introducing myself. So I am going to be the lead facilitator on this program, and I'm really, really excited about it. I've had 20 years of climbing the slippery rope of a corporate life. I worked in media for 20 years in senior roles and had to progress through to leadership without the rule book, without the sponsors, without the mentors. Actually, I should correct it. I did have sponsors and mentors. When I look back now and I actually look back at my career, there was definitely people along the way who saw me, advocated for me, gave me chances. But I think not having that structure, not having the understanding, I think one of the key things you hit on, Hannah, is the unwritten rules. There is no rule book, but there is a rule book, you know, but you don't get given it when you enter into your career. And in those early years, you're just working so hard and you're not even looking up and you're just trying to do your best and all of these things. And then all of a sudden you think, why haven't I progressed? So I think progression is a really loaded word. And it's not that you haven't progressed, because you have. And that's what I suppose we want to show in the program. And, you know, we're bringing this amazing cohort together to say you're all excellent. You've all progressed. You've all done fantastic in your careers. But there's some things that you just haven't been aware of. You haven't had access to sponsors. Maybe some of the rules that you thought working hard, maybe not the only thing that gets you to the next stage. Who are your stakeholders? Who are your sponsors? What events are you going to? How are you communicating? I'm going into too much of it, but I think I'm really excited about the program. And I think it's about saying that everyone is really talented who's going to come on this program. And it's not about them not being talented. It's about giving tools and equipping them with things that can enable them to get to that next stage of progression.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just trying to unpack a little bit. So just thinking about what else really shapes people's careers and why we think senior leaders beyond doing the right thing. So, you know, why does this really matter for firm performance, leadership, pipeline, and what's the business case here?
So it's a great question. And I think the question of why leaders should care is so interesting, isn't it? Because you would expect that because you are a leader, you should care. Yeah. Actually, we know and we recognize that as a leader, there's so many things that you have to do that actually you really need to think quite critically about who progresses in your business. And so I think the reason why leaders should care, the reason why the business case for this is that the world is changing significantly at a considerable rate. You know, there is a war for talent. There is still a war for talent. We are now entering, you know, Gen Zs are now entering into leadership, middle leadership and senior leadership roles. Actually, the demographics, we have five generations in the workplace now. So the demographics of leadership is changing. And so in order for you to continue to run your business, be successful, get market share, grow and expand, you need to have the best talent at the top. And so, you know, our point and, you know, the point of the program is to say that actually that best talent, you know, looks different, sounds different, comes from different places. They're a mix and a diverse range of people. And so the business case isn't we need to promote diversity. The business case is essentially we want the best people to lead our businesses of the future. And so we want to create a talent pipeline that does that. We want to create a talent pipeline of individuals who, you know, have all of the tools and resources to be able to progress. One of the things I say often is we are not here to fix anybody. Nobody needs fixing. And I think, Shelley, you hit it on the head. These are talented individuals in your business, but are they given the tools, the resources, the access, the sponsorship to thrive? And so as we have built this program, we have built that in mind. And so, yeah, from my perspective, the business case is that we need talent today, but we also need talent for tomorrow. And the talent for tomorrow are going to be of a different generation, but also a different socio-economic background. And so on one hand, we want to make sure that they feel supported and equipped to do their job really well. But we also want to make sure that the leaders of today are equipped through their sponsorship and mentorship to support the individuals as well.
And on to Hannah's point, you've got exceptional people in your organization that you're overlooking. To get people in who understand your business, have been locked in, who are passionate about your business, it will cost you a lot of money to get that in again. So it's the idea that you've got these exceptional people in the company that potentially being overlooked, and that's not for anyone's fault. You know, me and Hannah have done quite a lot of work recently working with leaders and looking at how sometimes we don't realize we're overlooking people because we're missing things just because our mindset needs to shift a little bit. So we might be looking at someone who doesn't speak up much in a meeting or doesn't really put themselves forward and saying, you know what, they're not ready. but actually, are they not ready, or do they not just feel comfortable yet? Do they not have the confidence or the skills or the kind of cultural awareness to kind of say, actually, I feel like I could step forward for that? So it's like, how do you shift that mindset with leaders as well to say, actually, maybe you're just overlooking people, not for any fault of your own, but because they're in front of you and you're missing things. And talent is expensive, but you've got exceptional talent in your business.
Brilliant. So let's move on from the problem to the solution a little bit. And, there are lots of leadership programs out there. What makes APP genuinely different?
I was going to say, from my perspective, again, having lived this, and I've done coaching programs, I've done mentoring programs. I think, you have to do it. You have to invest in yourself, and it's really important. For me, the thing that shifts this from one of those traditional programs, it's all the different facets of it. So it's not just coaching. I mean, I'm going to be running the workshops, and we're going to be going into some really interesting subjects, your networks, sponsorships, how you tell your story, so many incredible things. There's so many across the year, but then that's going to be backed up by doing coaching. And coaching is a brilliant thing to be able to get access to. Not only that, you're then going to get that one-to-one mentorship. And then finally, you're going to be working with peers across the industry. Normally, I mean, I find in industries, you might be one of one doing your role in an organization. That can be really lonely. You don't want to say you're lonely. Your legs are going like this underneath. You don't want to say you don't want to ask for help. But now you're going to be in a room of people who are like you, but across other organizations. That is a game changer, I think. So I think it's a really interesting dynamic, layering all of those things for it's really thoughtful in how it's done in that way. Sorry, Hannah, anything you want to add on that?
No, they're great. Thank you so much. That's exactly it, right? The cross kind of collaboration across firms makes this different. One of the things we know from a socio-economic perspective is that we don't come from a social capital. We don't have that social capital. And so what this program is doing, and not even the focus point, but what it will do is it will start to build that social capital across the industry. Not only that, one of the strongest components is the sponsorship. Actually having a senior leader from the organization support you through the journey. And although that is not one-to-one, that is through the sector challenges. Now, we're really excited about the sector challenges because what that allows our participants to do is not only showcase their skills, their talents, their leadership, their ability to work in a group, their ability to come with a problem and find a solution, but also having that visibility from a senior leadership perspective. So you're now taking a sector challenge that the sector has, and you're now working that throughout the year with an exec sponsor overlooking you. That has not been done before. I'm so sorry. That is the first of its kind. We are definitely claiming that one. And then also, I think it's just the continuous learning. We have got the line managers are involved. The line manager has 3 touch points throughout the year. And so to Shelley's point, this is a multifaceted program. It's not just the leadership program like you had seen internally. This is about broadening your skill set to really make sure that you are a leader of the future.
And that's sponsorship exposure as well. It's so important, getting exposure to sponsors, but also on the flip side, the journey the sponsors will go on will be really interesting as well. I mean, I'm sure some incredible ideas will surface, their mind will be shifted, so I'm really excited to see what those projects do by the end. I mean, I think they're going to be brilliant.
You guys have summed it up really well in terms of the USP that the program comes with. So why do you guys think Progress Together as a body is uniquely placed to bring these firms together in this particular way and turbocharge a program like APP?
So from my perspective, having been on the journey with Progress Together since inception, Progress Together always had a really clear mandate that they wanted to focus on on building senior leadership across financial services from a socio-economic perspective. We have worked with the Bridge Group. We have worked to gather the data. We have amazing founding members and members. And so for me, this was always going to be part of the journey, because actually what we wanted to do is the first thing that we did was collect the data. We did that really well. We wanted to make sure that our membership organizations was collecting socioeconomic data. That has happened. And now what we're thinking, and now our members are asking, you know, what next? How do you help us with this? How can we actually start to see that transition happen and that progression happen? And so, you know, Progress Together have over 60 members across financial services. That is a large proportion of the whole of financial services across the UK. We are very uniquely placed. Not many other organizations have that amount of access. And so if anyone is going to influence the industry from a member's perspective, Progress Together are rightly placed to do that. I also think that if we think about, you know, the D&I journey, you know, and I'm always going to bring it to that broader spectrum of, you know, where we're at with DEI. We've seen the pendulum swing both ways. You know, first it was the Me Too movement, then it was, you know, LGBT rights, and then it was the, you know, George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. We've seen diversity and inclusion come and go through different lenses. What is different around social mobility is actually there is no race or gender. Actually, you know, anyone can come from a low socioeconomic background. And so the fact that Progress Together has always focused on social mobility and socioeconomic diversity means that we now have the credibility and authority to be able to build a program and launch a program like this.
Brilliant. Let's make this practical now. So imagine I'm watching today, either as a potential participant or a senior leader thinking about nominating someone. What can I realistically expect from Accelerated Progress program?
So we're currently onboarding our first cohort. So if you are interested, please get involved. You may be a person in your organization thinking, oh my God, this is for me. Please reach out to your leaders. If you're part of the membership, we can absolutely have that conversation. We have been having conversations over the last few weeks with member firms, talking more about, you know, the program, what it involves. So also, if you want to find out more, you can reach out to me directly or reach out to Progress Together. But what can you expect? So the program kicks off in November. We have a 2-day session all around what to expect with the diagnostics. Everyone will come together for 2 days. And then we have from Shelley, as Shelley mentioned, Shelley will lead the facilitation of the workshops over the course of 2027. In that, you also have the coaching. So we have our executive coaches that are part of the APP delivery team that will be supporting the sector challenge groups on a bi-monthly basis, really supporting them through their sector challenge, but really looking at them as leaders and individuals. Everyone gets a mentor, which I think is a fantastic opportunity. And then we also have the sponsors who they have access to. So really what we're looking for is 3 groups. We're looking for nominations for participants. So aspiring leaders from your businesses who you think are, you know, not quite ready, has the potential, but could do with a real kind of support over the next 12 months. Then we're looking for sponsors from your organizations. And I would say we're not particularly looking for people who champion diversity. Actually, some of the best sponsors are those who don't actually have a lot of focus on diversity, but are excellent leaders. They run P&Ls, they run businesses. They are who we actually want to join us on the program. And then we're going to ask you for mentors. So every application comes with participants, sponsor nomination, and mentor nomination. And it is a 12-month program. There's a face-to-face session at the beginning, face-to-face session at the end, and then virtual sessions across the year.
Just talking about sponsors, and you know, love the way you sort of brought the 3 key players together. So in terms of sponsors, how does the program help them become better leaders?
Shelley, I don't know if you have a view on this.
Yes, I do. I mean, I think sponsors are so fundamentally important. As I said, I've had quite a few along my journey. I don't think I'd be where I am if I hadn't. But I think the experience for sponsors is also an interesting journey too, because I think sometimes we can think we are great leaders, we're inclusive, we support our teams, we mentor a few people, but actually what it takes to be a sponsor, to really invest in people, to see people, to understand their journey and go on that journey with them, breaking down some of those barriers. And then hopefully by the time you've established that relationship with those people, you will then start actually saying, you know, I'm going to advocate for those people. You know, and advocating is so different to mentoring someone. It's actually where you say, I'm going to use my social capital. I'm going to invest that in you. And that can be anything from mentioning you in a boardroom. You know, I went to this incredible workshop and there was all these great people and such did, you know, that they're putting your voice in spaces that you're not there. Those things are so important to your career. But also, you know, there's some great events that leaders get invited to. You suddenly start getting invites and access to that, you know, those groups of people. And access is one of the fundamental things you need as a leader. So I think the journey sponsors are going to go on along with the participants is going to be such an interesting journey. And I think 12 months is a great time for that to happen as well, from the beginning to the end. Because by the end, the sponsors will really feel like they have a real understanding of who they are, the barriers to entry, probably things that they haven't actually identified before. Yes, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Seems like we are, you know, all sort of, you just can't wait for this program to kick off. Let's fast forward a year. Someone's completed the program. What does success look like for them and for their firm?
Yeah, so I think it's a great question, because we are not guaranteeing any promotions, guys. But what we are is promoting promotion readiness and leadership readiness. And so in 12 months' time, we would hope that you have gone on a self-discovery learning journey about who you are, what type of leader you are, understanding how business works, understanding the importance of being a senior leader in an organization, really not understanding, you know, what it takes to lead a business. Because what we're not trying to do is give you confidence. You know, I'm a big, strong believer that, you know, we need to stop telling people that they need confidence. Sometimes it's the environment. Sometimes it's understanding, you know, the lay of the land. Sometimes it's understanding the rules and the unspoken rules. So by the end of the program, we should have uncovered and delved into all of them things. The sector challenge will give you the visibility that you across the industry. And so for businesses, we're hoping that you then have, you know, really strong, high potential talent now ready for promotion, now ready to take on bigger challenges, now ready to have stretch opportunities. And then for the participants, a renewed excitement for progression in your career.
I mean, on the confidence piece, you're absolutely right. But I feel like this is going to sound like a weird phrase. You'll have the confidence in your own confidence. You know? And that's a weird phrase, but I think you're right. This isn't about confidence. They've all got it in them, but it's the confidence in being able to express that and understand where to put that. And if I was to think of some key things that I think you're going to come out of this program with, visibility would be a top one. You'll be visible to your own company, but then you'll be visible to all the other people that you're working with along the program as well. I think you'll understand yourself better. You'll understand why you felt certain ways throughout your career. You'll understand why you face certain barriers throughout your career. You realize you're not alone, because there'll be a feeling of, you know, you've got a group of people who are going through similar things. And that is a very incredible feeling to have. Network. You have a network of people, and that's really important. And across network, like when, you know, Hannah's said, it's brilliant. You'll be working with lots of other organizations. One of the key things I think that everyone needs to understand is your own story and being able to tell that story proficiently. And it's a key to success and being a leader, because you're going to be asked to do that more and more as you progress through your career. So I think there's so many brilliant things that you learn along the way. I think we had a question come through. I don't know if you saw it.
No.
Yes. So the question we've got from Shagufta Sharif, who is a board member as well as head of diversity. We've got how many can we take in each cohort? And if it's a 12-month program, from a resource planning perspective, what's the time commitment for cohorts, sponsors and mentors? And also if there's a cost involved.
Excellent. Yeah. So let me think about my answer. So the participant number is 30 participants, but we have accounted for 50. So we are saying between 5 to 10 participants can be nominated by any one organization. And then with that, we're asking for 2 sponsors and the half of the mentor. So if you submit 10 participants, then we would say, can you submit 5 mentors, but then only 2 sponsors. So actually what we're trying to do is just make sure that the sponsors, because the sponsors and mentors won't be specific to your organization, they will actually get an opportunity to mentor across the industry as well. Time commitment, really great question. So the workshops are 2 hours per month.
Yeah.
And so every month they will attend a 2-hour workshop. Then we have a hour and a half group coaching session, and that is every other month. And then the mentor is actually self-managed. So what we're saying is we will pair you with a mentor at the beginning, and then we ask that you connect with your mentor and arrange a time per month to speak. So from a time perspective of for the participant, I would say about 4 hours per month, if we're thinking about just some of the extra stuff after the workshop. For the sponsor, we are saying that it is so it'll be 1 hour. It'll be 1 hour every other month, because they are coaching the group on the sector challenge, not individual. But then we are also asking them to come and share their expertise on a workshop. So there are going to be some sessions where Shelley will invite a sponsor to come and talk about their business. If they are the head of corporate bank, come and talk about it, or talk about what it's like to be the head of corporate bank, what you need to think about, how you manage a P&L, because this isn't just about personal development, this is about business development as well. And then the mentors, as mentioned, is self-managed with the participant. There is a price. The price is £3,000 per participant, excluding VAT. And yes, it's a 12-month program. It's 2 face-to-face days at the beginning, 2 face-to-face days at the end, one which is a graduation and a Dragon's Den style sector challenge presentation. So everyone who's done the sector challenge will have to present their sector challenge findings to the sponsors on a panel. No pressure. And so yeah, that's it. Did I answer the questions? There was a few there. Was there any that I missed?
You did you did very well. Thank you, Hannah. So I'm just going to finish this off in the essence of time with one final question for each of you, and then we'll wrap up. So Hannah, if someone's watching today and thinking about applying, what's the one thing you want them to know?
So I suppose in twofold. If you're an individual thinking about applying, your career is in your own hands. This is an opportunity for you to learn, for you to grow, to go deeper in your leadership. And so I would say ask. They'd say if you don't ask, you don't get. So ask your business, speak to your business, speak to your line manager, get in contact with us. We can actually support with conversations. So we're very connected with our members. And so if you are from an organization, you want to get involved, but you'd like some support with engagement, we can do that. For the businesses, I think it's about really recognizing the gap in talent and understanding that this is a cross-firm, sector-wide program that can actually really help, build the next leaders of the future for financial services.
Thank you. You've already answered the second question I was going to ask Shelley in terms of senior leader watching today. I think thank you both. We really enjoyed today's conversations. As we said earlier, applications are now open. We'll be posting a link to the webpage on the Progress Together website with all the details about the program, and our lovely colleagues explaining it in more detail through a video that's specifically done to as an explainer to the program. Thanks once again to you all for joining us, and hope you have a fantastic day.